Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Be me. I am 20 years old, sleeping in bed with my girlfriend at the time. Start drifting off to sleep. Start dreaming about a night out I had with some friends. During that night out, I climbed a huge tree. Looked down and friends are gone, and like 12 cops were patrolling on foot. Realized that my friends walked off and didn't look at me up top of this tree so the police wouldn't wonder what they were looking at. I am a statue. The cops move on and I climb down. High five, bro. In the dream, I relive up to the part where I realize my friends are gone. Get grabbed in my dream by a silhouette-like figure. Transported to a completely pitch-black location. Climbing down white railing while I feel the world spinning. I realize that I'm dreaming, but also able to see my surroundings. IRL WTF is going on. The further I climb down, the faster the world starts to spin. See the dark silhouette above me. Let go of the railing and fall. Now I'm in my room, unable to move or speak or do anything. Spinning in circles while lying down. I'm spinning about 6 feet above my body and girlfriend's body. Become aware that this could be sleep paralysis or astral travel and want to be sure. Take note of clothes on the ground and items on the bedside table. Blue dope hat at foot of bed. Impossible to see it from where my body was lying. The wardrobe door is open. Black silhouette figure in there staring at me. After each full circle, I'd get a glimpse of this thing. After one spin, it would be looking at my body lying on bed. Another spin, it would be looking at me spinning near the ceiling. Freak out and start hyperventilating out of fear. While breathing like this, I notice my body 6 feet below me is breathing exactly the same. Start breathing harder to wake up my girlfriend, and it works eventually. She starts freaking out and shakes me like crazy and throws water on me. Slowly start moving toward my body. I'm back in my body. Blue dope hat right where I saw it while spinning around the room. I didn't even know that tears were running down my face. Another panic attack. Girlfriend freaking out. I look in the wardrobe and completely lose my mind. Never experienced fear like this before. It was really unexplainable. Wake my friend up and the three of us hang out on the balcony smoking cigarettes and stuff. By this time it is around 4 or 5 a.m. Sun is up after a little bit. Tell them to go back to sleep. Good damn friends, weren't mad at all, just hung out and made me feel safer. This started happening a lot after this. Have sleeping problems now. Nothing serious. I just always expect this kind of thing to happen. Not as afraid anymore, encountered the same silhouette-like thing a few times, as well as other entities. I guess that is the word. Still scares the crap out of me, but I'm getting used to handling it. Never believed in astral projection before this. 100% sure it's real now. I have more stories like this if anyone is interested. After this first experience, it started happening often, and some of them terrified me beyond words.
Continue. Let's hear some of the most terrifying.
Sorry about the long reply. It's been a few months since my first experience. I have had many experiences similar to the first since then. Have a friend stay over. This friend is a very cool, open-minded dude who believes in this kind of thing and has claimed to have astral projected before. He doesn't know about my little episode yet, so he sleeps on a mattress on the floor next to my bed. Start to drift off, and the regular signs of another astral projection episode start to happen. High pitch ringing in ears, pins and needles hitting me in sync with my heartbeat. Hairs on the back of my neck standing up and just feeling really weird in general. I try and stay awake, but inevitably fall asleep after a while. It starts happening, and this episode definitely proves to be pretty bizarre. I start seeing a lot of entities. Not sure what else to refer to them as. I saw one very human-like dude, no notable features, behead a girl on my floor, saw a bunch of weird things, ghost-like figures coming through the floor and all that. Start to really freak out as a massive shadow is on my wall. I should probably mention that by this time I hadn't figured out how to move on my own free will yet. So I start breathing really heavily to wake up my friend like I did with my girlfriend the first time. End up waking myself up. Relief. Although unfortunately once it happens once, for me it usually keeps on happening all night, time after time every time I fall asleep. So it happens again. This time I got dragged by my foot. I felt something grab my foot and drag me straight through the floor and into my living room downstairs. So like I said, I couldn't move. Staring at a photo of me and my mom in the botanical gardens, a cheap little tourist attraction, LOL. In the reflection of the glass in the photo, I see a massive figure going berserk. freak out and start hyperventilating, start spinning like the first experience towards my body. I'm not back in my room. So I'm now back in my room, but still having an out-of-body experience, I guess I'll call it. I can see my friend. My room is now completely empty of entities bar one. There is a little girl standing over my friend, scared the hell out of me. She looked like she had been swimming, completely drenched, clothes dripping with water. Did not get a bad vibe at all though. She was the only thing I saw for the rest of the night. Next morning we both woke up, chat, and go for a skate. Eventually I talked to him about the times he said he astral projected, had a good chat about it, and told him about mine. He believed me, despite the fact that even I knew I sounded crazy. I told him about everything that happened the previous night. This is where it gets really weird. Scout's honor, I'm not lying. Before I even got to tell him about the girl, he asked if there was a little girl anywhere near him. Chills run up my spine. Completely lost my mind, as a few months ago I didn't really believe in paranormal things. I told him that she was covered in water. He teared up a little and told me that she drowned when she was a few years old. And then his nose started bleeding a little bit. I'm serious, that actually happened. So we both freaked out and avoided talking about it. Still one of my best mates, but we had been for like almost 10 years now. But I never knew about his sister until that day. Not many people did. I asked his brother if he ever had a sister just to check if he was bullshitting, and he got pretty emotional that I knew about it. That was probably the weirdest experience simply because of the little girl. Sorry about taking so long. I was originally writing it on my phone, but the touchpad started messing up because Samsung can't make reliable phones. I have a few more if anyone is still lurking in the thread.
Cool shit, OP. If you're still here, I wouldn't mind hearing more. If not, I'll bump the thread for a bit with a story of my own. Not nearly as nice as yours, though. Just a general shadow people experience. Having an odd dream one night. I remember looking out the window of my mom's old house and seeing a cloth flapping in the wind at night. Cloth is covering a body or something being held up by a noose. It turns towards me then. The cloth spreads and engulfs my field of vision. In my waking dream, I see this figure standing over my bed, struggle and eventually wake up. Knew about shadow people, but I think most scary stuff like that is just all in your mind. Go back to sleep. The second I fall back to sleep, I wake up with an overpowering sense of dread. Still discredited all, it's all just in my head. Another waking dream. This time the figure is standing closer to me. I can hear him chanting. Start sobbing. Can't remember clearly, then force myself awake. Cuss at my mind. Decide to try some Buddhist meditation I learned. It's on now. Imminent regret. Halfway through trying to focus on the spot, I start feeling some weirdness. Completely different from the normal sensations I feel when I meditate. Bad vibes like the dread you feel when you realize you will die one day. Starts getting hard to breathe. Hear whispering and that same damn chanting. I snapped out of it and realized I was falling back into a waking dream. Screw it all. Not getting any sleep tonight. Not making my 6 a.m. class tomorrow. Go to the kitchen and make some mac and cheese. You all might have enjoyed the expression my teacher asked the day after, when he asked why I was absent the day before.
OP here, glad to tell my experiences to people wanting to hear them. The most recent one messed me up a little bit, and I blame it for a lot of things going wrong for me lately. I am 21 years old now. My girlfriend moved back in with her parents, which was stressful for me for many reasons. When the experience with my friend happened, she was visiting her parents, and I got my friend over because I was too scared to sleep alone. Have been since it first happened. So now she moved away and I was getting used to sleeping alone. Had some bad experiences, had some good ones. Did a lot of reading into astral projection and whatnot. Was very tedious, and it was hard to pick what to believe and what not to believe. Some forums had people saying things like they defend the world from evil spirits while being mounted on a spiritual dragon flying over houses and vanquishing evil spirits, drive-by style with their spirit swords. I can't with all certainty say that it was bullshit, but a lot of what I read was not relevant or similar to the things that I experienced at all. I did search for hours. I used searching for information as a pastime to keep me awake when I would wake up from these episodes. It worked well, but really messed with other aspects of my life due to being tired a lot of the time. Also point out that by this time I had been keeping a dream journal because I read somewhere it can help. Help me realize when I was dreaming and whatnot, but not for these outer body experiences. I started to drift off one night and was thinking of the beach near where my girlfriend was now living. I was trying to dream of myself there in a way, I guess. Sounds stupid as it was a 5-hour drive from where I was. Started dreaming of a pier in the town. I knew I was dreaming and I was half asleep and half awake. Hear a low-pitched distant roar, gets closer and closer, abandoned trying to dream, and now I'm floating around my room. I was very afraid at this point. Literally frozen with fear as this scream was getting closer. Instinctively, I hop into my body like a scared kid hiding under a blanket or something. Still having an out-of-body experience, just felt right to try and be close to my body. I tried to wake up, but I was in my room and I couldn't do it myself this time. Scream keeps on getting closer. I'm terrified. I felt a really bad vibe. Hyperventilating. Cannot wake up. Still getting closer. I was on my bed, in my room. Nothing unusual was in my room. Literally, I couldn't have spotted anything out of the ordinary, which is why this one scared me so much. Every other time I had an episode, it was always darker than it should be, or there would be a constant unusual ringing in my ears, always something to indicate that it was a normal situation. I was in my room, lights on, everything looked fine. I just couldn't wake up. Now the scream was in my room and I was frozen with fear. And then this thing came up through the floor like it was nothing and bit onto my left shoulder. Previously, I haven't really been sure what to label the entities that I saw, but this thing was evil. This was the first thing I saw that had features and skin and everything. I couldn't really feel any pain, but I was stuck. I couldn't move, and it felt like I was never going to get free. By this time, my breathing sounded like a Wookiee with Tourette's syndrome. Legit felt like I was done. Like I knew I was dreaming, and as far as I could tell, nothing could really logically happen to me. But at times like those when you face, in my opinion, the epitome of fear, logic really means nothing at all. For those moments I believed in religion and God and everything. So by this time probably 10 seconds had passed and this thing was going crazy, ripping and biting my left shoulder and chest. I was still experiencing the same level of fear the whole way through. Closed my eyes and tried my hardest to move. Eventually I could move and threw my fist in the direction of this thing. I was awake when I did this. The second I could move was the second I woke up. But there was no little transitional phase of being asleep or out of your body, and then awake like you would usually experience if it was just a regular dream. There never was with these experiences. So after throwing all I had at this thing's face and realizing it wasn't there and I was awake, I had an anxiety attack. Couldn't breathe and felt too afraid to really move for a while. I then grabbed a knife I keep by my bed. I then went through my drawers looking for a crucifix I got when I was in Rome. I was still in a heightened state of fear and believed that religion would help. After about 2 hours of not moving and being completely terrified, I began to compose myself. I immediately wrote everything down in my dream journal. Those few pages are terrifying to read. I then called my girlfriend and talked to her for a while. I then purchased a bus ticket to see her. For the next few days I was kind of unstable and not together, freaking out at little things. I couldn't drive because I was anxious. I visited her for a few days but had to return as I had things to do. This thing had dark leathery skin, screwed up teeth, long as dirty nails, weird-looking yellow eyes and weird flayed skin under its neck that arched up over its head. I have never seen anything like it. This was the most terrifying experience I have ever gone through in my entire life. I have had other experiences, but as scary as they may have been, due to the sheer helplessness I felt, I knew that they were just things that were happening to me while having an out-of-body experience or while I was astral projecting. This time I was in my room. With the lights on, I couldn't have been in a safer or more normal place. Like I said, there was not anything indicating that something was out of the ordinary. It just happened, and it made me feel like I couldn't be safe in my own home. Since then, my 7-year relationship with that girl has fallen apart. I lost my job, could not sleep in that room, and moved to the other side of the planet. This all happened in Australia. But luckily, my dad lives in England with the rest of my family, and they are thrilled that I'm living here. But there you go. There are other stories, but none of them messed me up like this one. I still get scared thinking about it, but still astral travel despite that. Since being in England, it has been fine with no bad experiences, or none that I couldn't handle anyway, as I have been doing this a while now, so if anyone wants any info about it or any other stories, I'd be glad to share. Thanks, guys.
More stories would be great. If you keep experiencing demonic things like this, I would seriously seek out an exorcist.
I really considered getting help from a psychiatrist or something like that, but I hate the idea of doing so for some reason. I have a fair few stories left. There was a few times when I was still with my girlfriend that got to me. Like a few weeks after the first experience happened, I saw the same black figure lurking about my room, and I had another episode and I was still new to this thing, so I could not move or anything. I was stuck in my room, unable to move, while this thing was roaming around my room with me spinning above myself, hovering over my girlfriend, and photos of us on the bedside table, and really sharply jerking its face to look at me whenever I started trying to breathe really hard. I read in quite a few forums that I deemed honest that while in this state everything is felt more than done, and I believe that to be the best way to describe it, and it felt hostile whenever I tried to do anything to wake up or help myself. After a while I didn't care and decided to just do it, and tried to wake up by breathing loud enough to wake up my girlfriend. By this point she was well aware what me breathing heavily meant, so as I did this, that figure starting to get pretty weird, my girlfriend woke up and turned on the lamp. This thing went right over to the lamp and looked at it, then looked at me, then hovered over my body and froze still. So as I was getting shaken by my girlfriend, I was spinning closer and closer to my body, and towards this thing also, so I closed my eyes and waited to be awake. So now I was lying on the bed in my body, and thought that I'd be awake any moment, so I stopped breathing loudly and opened my eyes. And this thing was right in front of me, like an inch away from my face. So I completely lost my shit and began spinning away again. And I could see this thing, as I was spinning away, still right in front of my body. My bed is right against the wall, so my head was practically right against the wall also. My room was maybe 5 meters by 5 meters, so this thing's head was right on top of mine, at the wall. But its torso and lower half of its body legit was through the wall opposite, so it was like over 5 meters long while I was freaking out. Eventually my girlfriend got my friend that I went to the first time it happened, and they took me out of my room and threw me in the shower, and I woke up instantly. They were both freaked out like I was. After that though, I was strangely never afraid of that thing too much ever again, like I would always be freaked out by it and its presence, but if it could have done something to me, I just assumed it would have. So I took some comfort in that. That other thing I saw when I was alone that was biting me and whatnot was completely different.
Here's a story of mine, not sure if it was an out-of-body experience or if it was just a dream, but still fun. B16. Moved in with my dad because my mother is crazy. Now live in a trailer park in northern New South Wales. Used to get scary shit all the time at Mum's house. So much that 2 months before I moved out, I refused to go in there at night and slept in the lounge room. Don't get them at all at Dad's. Figure that it was probably from the stress of living with a legit insane cripple. Been enjoying humanity fuck yeah stories, like to the point where I swell with pride whenever I remembered that I was a human dominant species of Earth. Wake up in that half awake, half asleep state. Hear heavy breathing and footsteps outside my bedroom door. I live in a cabin, by the way, not a caravan. Scared, can't move much. Pitch black, can't see a thing. Heavy breathing is now right next to me. Clench fist and make what I hope was a savage, angry face. Feel something touch my arm, go completely berserk. Swing my arm in its general direction. Roll out of bed, sensing that I've landed on top of whatever it is. Primalfury.jpg. Deliver a feral assault on this thing. Not punching, but slamming my fists into it like hammers. Like when Caesar BTFO's Koba in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Get right in its face, yelling and snarling like an animal. Wake up. Still in bed. The fan has been knocked over. Drool on my pillow. Hey, Astral Bros, we own your plane now.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more Greentexts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.
There's also a Rumble archive as a backup.